Welcome to the 5-Star Preps Walkthrough.
Powered by Coker Rental Company. The Walkthrough delivers important pregame news, breakdowns of the week's biggest matchups, and more from the teams and players you spend your fall Friday nights cheering for.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Now, join us as our host, Jesse Smithey, and the rest of the 5-Star Preps team deliver the most comprehensive high school football coverage in East Tennessee. It's time for the 5-Star Preps Walkthrough.
Welcome in, everybody. Round 2 of the TSSAA playoffs. It is here, and it is upon us. I am your host tonight here on the Walkthrough, Jesse Smithey, head editor and senior writer at 5starpreps.com. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. A lot to get to on the show tonight. We got predictions. We got interviews with players. We got interviews with coaches. We got players to watch, games to know. About 17 games all together tonight involving teams from the 5-Star Preps coverage area. And you say, well, what is the 5-Star Preps coverage area? We go as far east as Greenville and Elizabethton. We go up to Campbell County. We go over to Stone Memorial over in Crossville. And we go down south about as far as McMinn County. So that's about our footprint. We had around 70, 75 schools to cover in 5-Star Prep. So 17 games tonight involving teams from our coverage area. As always, though, presented by Coker Rentals up there in North Knoxville. Make sure all you contractors out there, all you construction guys, you need scissor lifts. You need dumpsters and pressure washers and excavators. So much more that they offer. All of that. Coker Rentals up there in North Knoxville. That's where you need to go, or you can find them online. RentCoker.com. RentCoker, COKER.com. Certainly appreciate their support all season long as the title sponsor of the Walkthrough. So let's go ahead and walk you through it. Those 17 games will start off in Class 1A. Greenback at Oliver Springs. We got that one tonight. Rockwood at Coalfield. Remember, Rockwood was a 2A team for the last few years. They dropped back down into 1A. They'll go against Coalfield tonight. In 2A, we don't have many teams, period, to begin with. But in the postseason, we have Oneida playing at York Institute. And that's about the only game in 2A involving one of our teams. In 3A, Kingston at Gatlinburg Pittman. We'll get into that one. Austin East at Alcoa. And then McMinn Central at Giles County. Class 4A, Gibbs at Greenville. Gibbs coming off that huge win last week in overtime against Northview Academy. We'll have more on that coming up. Elizabethton at Anderson County. We've seen this matchup, I think, 4 times in the last 5 years. In the second round, we get another installment of that on Friday night. Stone Memorial is at undefeated Upperman. We'll keep tabs on that tonight. In Class 5A, we're loaded. Powell at Sevier County. Morristown West at Knoxville West. Clinton at Oak Ridge. Rivalry game in the playoffs. Unbelievable. Lenore City at Walker Valley. So 4 of the 8 games in Class 5A involve teams from the greater Knoxville area. In Class 6A, Bearden on the road at Jefferson County. Maryville, can they keep their state semifinal streak going? Remember, from 2000 to 2022, they have at least made the semifinal round or beyond in the playoffs. Maryville at undefeated Bradley Central. That was a close game earlier in the year. We'll see if it plays out that way on Friday night tonight. And then in Division II AA, we have Webb 10-1 at Franklin Road Academy, 9-1. FRA, really big running back, rushed for about 1,500 yards. Webb going to have to stop him tonight. And in Division II AAA, our one team is Catholic, 6-5 on the road against MUS. And that Catholic MUS game, very intriguing. Catholic got off the schneid last week, finally got its first Division II AAA playoff win in its history, and its first playoff win since 2018, period. And now they get on the bus and head over to West Tennessee. So we reached out to Catholic, said, hey, Steve Matthews, co-head coach, you got time to talk with us? And he did. Here's our conversation with Steve Matthews from Catholic High School. Now joined by Steve Matthews at Catholic High School. Steve, thanks for doing this for us. Welcome back to high school football. I mean, I know you've been in it for a long time, but back at Catholic this year. What's this been like for you, kind of being back at Catholic?
It's been great. Got a great group of young men to work with. Um, I've had our ups and downs this season, but overall, very proud of the way our guys have competed. I think we're made huge steps as far as our program is concerned, and so not necessarily happy with where we're at, but definitely happy with where we're headed.
Yeah, you guys got your first playoff win since I think 2018 last week, and that's a huge accomplishment. We all know how difficult Division II AAA is, and just how much did you guys feel rewarded and to celebrate that moment?
It was great, especially for our young men. We talked about making history all week. This league is as tough as it gets. We look at our schedule. We lost a tough one to NBA by 5. We lost to McCallie by 4. We had a three series stretch there against Innsworth. That game was a lot closer than the final score indicated. So I think we're getting to the point where we feel like we can play with just about anybody, and then really not play our best ball game against Father Ryan and to beat them going away by 23 points. We were, it was a good achievement. We're looking for more, obviously, as we keep continuing the playoffs. But really excited for our young man and for these programs.
In just a minute, I want to get into some of the guys who've kind of stepped up and not really surprised, but helped complete your team. But one of the guys we already knew about was Braylon Harmon. Of course, he's had a phenomenal year in the receiving game, run game, kick return game, punt return game. Now Tennessee offers him the other day. I don't know what he's going to do college-wise. I know he's been committed to Wofford, but to see a Power 5, tender an offer to him, I mean, that had to be a pretty cool moment to see a guy who just busts his butt all the time.
One of the hardest workers I've ever been around. Just one of these guys is just a dream to coach, and not only with his attitude and his effort, but he also has the ability. And it's funny, I'm a little late to this Zoom call with you. University of Southern California just called me about him.
Oh wow!
So there's a plenty of interest and for a guy like him that was kind of under the radar the last couple of years, to see his hard work paying off. We've got a bunch playing at Tennessee right now. I think we got 7 on their roster. 3 of them are starting. And I talked to Coach Eckler a long time about him last week. They're pumped about the possibility of getting him, and I think wherever he ends up, he's going to have a great career.
I mean, what makes him appealing to that level, skill set wise?
I think the first thing that stands out is the speed. When I was talking to Coach Eckler, he said he timed him at a camp at a 4.3. And so that's the first thing that pops out. And then he went to these other camps. He had a hamstring issue and didn't really run up to his capability. He still, you never know. He still went and decided to run. It's one of those competitive things, but probably didn't do himself much justice doing that. But I think the speed is what stands out. He just has a rare ability with the ball in his hands. We stop the clip all the time watching film. There's 10 guys around him, and the next thing you know, he's running for a touchdown. And I'm such a smart coach. I just tell him, keep doing that stuff. You got 10 guys around you, make them all miss, and go run for a touchdown. So he's as good as guy that I've ever coached. I've been fortunate enough to coach a lot of really good ones. Good as guy, and I think he's got a chance to do something not only the rest of this year, but also the rest of his career.
Yeah, towards the tail end of 2022, you could see Tyreek King start to get more comfortable at the high school level, make more plays. His yardage production was going up, and we started to see just all that promise starting to kind of surface a little bit. Now this year, he's leading you guys, I think, in total receiving yards. What have you seen out of him, a young guy that's getting Division I offers as well?
Just constant improvement. He's continuing to get better, understand the system better. Another really good young man. I know a lot of the Power 5 schools, love him. I would like to get him on a clock because he might be up there too in that speed range. Great hands, great body control, has all the abilities, starting to play some corner for us as well. and I think he could probably play either one at the next level. But we got him for 2 more years here, and getting excited about his growth and his continued ability to reach his potential.
Look back to the summer. We show up to 7-on-7, and Jaden Neal, your junior quarterback, is out there in an arm sling. He's got his left arm in a sling, and he's out there whipping touchdown passes with his right arm. The fact that he was able to do that, how instrumental was it for him to not miss that time? I know he's already started for 2 years, but the fact that he took that step and still played and still built chemistry with his receivers and timing, how instrumental was that for y'all's success this year?
Yeah, and we are, and for 2 reasons we did that. Number one, the idea was just go out there, and I want you to see the defense. There's a new system being put in place, maybe just hit a bunch of check downs. But as it got going, you're right, he's slinging it all over the place. But I thought it'd been great for him just to get a feel for where the guys are going to be in this offense. And no, I think it shows you what kind of competitor he is. He did a great job in that camp. We then went on to Hoover, Alabama, with some of the top guys in the country. I think we finished 6-1, and ended up doing a great 7-on-7 there. And so, yeah, he's had a good year. I think he's going to continue to get better. He's about 64 completion percentage, which is, I think, extremely high at the high school level. Still some things to improve on, but I'm excited where he's headed as well.
Yeah, I think I wrote a week or so ago talking about you guys on our website that even though you ended the year on kind of a slide record-wise, I still didn't feel like y'all were kind of down on yourself. You were competitive in a lot of those games this year. Guys have stepped up this year and kind of helped fill certain roles. Who have been a few of the guys that maybe that weren't household names to begin the year that have really kind of shined this year for Catholic?
You know, Jacob Bryce is a transfer player from us, and from Northview Academy, and he's had an outstanding year at left tackle. And Torrey Hamilton and Keelan Smith have done a great job on the defensive line. They've really improved their play. Bryson Garner's had a great year, and Grayson Goodell is running the ball for us extremely hard. And you're right, that last game of the year against Baylor, it was really about half varsity, half JV. We're the bad part about this team is we are razor thin with our depth, and so we had some guys banged up. So last game of the year, it was basically our, hopefully things work out for us tomorrow night, and maybe get a shot to go there again.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Grayson Goodell, and I think he had 4 touchdowns in that first round win a week ago. Now you guys get on the bus, go over to Memphis University School, and looking at their stats, I mean, there was nothing offensively that really impressed, just jumping off the page, but defensively, it looked like they had some dudes.
Yeah, they do. They've got they got a Stanford commit in the back end, and every team we play has Power 5 guys everywhere. We're used to that by now. They got a couple Power 5 guys in the back end, but they've found ways to win. That's the way I'd say it. They are a talented group, very well coached. Coach Alston's been there 30-something years, I think. But they find ways to win. Don't necessarily blow people out. A lot of close games as well. We do have some common opponents that they've played close that we can see and kind of see maybe where we match up. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. We've got some guys fighting sickness and stuff like that that's going around, so that's a concern. But I think if we're healthy and at full strength, I think we got a great shot.
I mean, just how do you handle the long bus trip?
We're gonna drive up to Jackson. Last time we went to MUS first round, we went all the way there. I think that's just it was all day hanging out with 80 teenagers in a hotel and stuff like that. So we're going to leave for Jackson tonight, stay in the hotel in Jackson, have a light lunch in the morning, and then drive in the rest of the way to Memphis. And it's a 6:00 start Central Time. So their administration was nice enough to do that for us. We're starting a little bit earlier, and so that's how we're going to handle the trip. I don't know. There's probably no right way to do these things. It's a long trip. I hope at some point we figure something out where teams aren't coming across the state for us. We figure something out at some point, but right now this is what it is.
Well, Steve, again, thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight, and best of luck to you guys against MUS.
And I want to thank you. We talked a little bit before we went on, just the exposure you give these young men. They didn't have anything like that when I was playing, and I know other coaches are like, man, wouldn't this be great if we had 5-star preps and covered it like this? So I want to thank you and all your guys. Always great to work with you guys, and especially what you do for the young men in this area.
Always a pleasure to talk to Steve. Always good with his time. Great insight on a guy who's played in college at Tennessee and Memphis. Went on to play in the NFL for 3 or 4 years. I think he was with the Jaguars, the Chiefs, and the Titans. And just always great to talk to, and appreciate his time. I do want to remind you to go over to 5starpreps.com. There is a signing day list on the website. It's free. You don't have to be a subscriber, and it's all the kids who have signed in recent days here in the greater Knoxville area. Baseball, soccer, lacrosse, swimming, diving, everything in there. So check that out, and just see the wealth of talent that we have here in East Tennessee. Now let's get into our player watch. These guys weren't on that signing list. Football did not sign until December, but these are 5 guys I want you to keep an eye on in round 2 of the playoffs. Number 1, we start off with Carson Quillen, the Virginia Tech baseball commitment who led Greenville to a state championship in the spring. He is absolutely doing it big time again on the football field, just like he did last year as a sophomore, but this year leading the team in receptions, getting involved in the run game when they need him to, and of course he plays defense as well. So Carson Quillen going to be critical for Greenville in that game tonight against Gibbs High School. Number 2 player to watch, Xavier James. Probably not familiar with this kid all that much. He was at Jefferson County a year ago, made the move over to Anderson County, and this year over 1,000 yards receiving. He is the most popular target for Isaiah Hall, the senior quarterback at Anderson County, who's only about 50 or 60 yards away from a 3,000-yard passing year in his only year with the Mavericks. But Xavier James, remember that name tonight as Anderson County tries to topple Elizabethton yet again in the playoffs. Drew Parrott, number 3 guy, Drew Parrott, quarterback, Bearden High School. Look, Bearden hadn't thrown the ball all that much. Drew Parrott had to throw it 24 times a week ago, and guess what? He completed 16 of those passes, well over 100 yards. That's what Bearden needs out of him each and every night to complement that run game that they have with Jason Thompson that led to a win a week ago. Can it produce another win? Watch this Bearden passing game Friday night against Jefferson County and see what it does to kind of mix in some pass plays, get Jefferson County defense stretched out vertically, and then see if they can pop off some big runs in that game. So Drew Parrott, our number 3 player. Drew Parrott. Our number 4 guy, Marquise Barrett. This guy has been on an absolute tear this year, especially over the last month. He now has 15 receiving touchdowns, 9 interceptions on defense. There's a reason he's going to Vanderbilt. There's a reason he's a Mr. Football semifinalist, possible finalist. We'll see about that here in a couple weeks. But Marquise Barrett, senior wide receiver, defensive back for Webb School of Knoxville. Remember, they go on the road to play FRA in Nashville, Franklin Road Academy, a 1-loss FRA team. If they win this game, they move on to the next round, looking at CPA, which a lot of people have kind of labeled the favorite in Division II AA this year. So in the quarterfinal round tonight for Division II, Webb on the road against FRA. Marquise Barrett is going to be big on the back end of that defense trying to stop the FRA run game. So he may not come up with a ton of interceptions tonight, but he's going to be key on both sides of the ball, producing points and trying to keep FRA from producing points. And then finally, West quarterback Hunter Dance. I need to see that pass game open up a little bit for West High School. Right now they're winning with defense, run game, and just the periodical pass. I want to see that game out of him where he's 15 to 25, 250 yards, 3 or 4 passing touchdowns, They play Morristown West tonight. Morristown West very active on the defensive front. They're going to try to get after Hunter Dance, get him uncomfortable, scrambling around and make bad decisions. Let's see if Hunter Dance can kind of stay there comfortable in the pocket and deliver those throws. Keep an eye on him tonight. Coker Rental always makes the show possible. North Knoxville area, up off Clinton Highway area. Go check them out. Coker Rentals, all you construction guys, all you contractors. I know you need a variety of equipment and materials. Check them out, rentcoker.com. All right. We had a unbelievable week of voting on 5starpreps.com. More than 17,000. And look, we limit our votes. We want it to mean something. We don't want bots in there. We don't want people just click, 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 click. You have to wait to vote every so often. And we still had more than 9,000 people vote for this young man at Gibbs High School. Brady Hughes in the win over Northview Academy a week ago. 16 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, a 96-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And in overtime, he blocked the PAT that ultimately allowed Gibbs to win over Northview and advance into round 2. Here's our quick conversation with Brady Hughes, our player of the week. Brady, man, congratulations first and foremost. What's this honor like for you?
It's incredible, honestly. But first of all, I got to give a lot of thanks to my coaching staff, my teammates, my family, and most importantly, I got to thank God for putting me in the position I am today.
Absolutely. And you look back to last week, 16 tackles, and I'm having to read all this because you did so much. I can't remember it all. 16 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, a 96-yard fumble return touchdown, and you blocked a PAT in overtime that ended up being the difference in that game, that win over Northview Academy. Take me back to last week and just how involved you were and just what type of effort did that take for you guys to win that football game?
Yeah, it took a lot of effort. Honestly, I feel like going into the game, we really underestimated them. We thought that they really hadn't played much people. We were underestimating them. So when we were going into it, we really didn't come out like how we usually come out. So that's what put us down in the first half. But at halftime, we just told everybody, like, we got to get it together. We got to, like, turn it up a notch because we weren't doing how we usually play. So, yeah, going into that second half, I knew I was going to have to take a big part in the win because I knew I was going to have to, like, make a play. So on that 96-yard touchdown fumble recovery, I just saw the ball out there in one of his hands, so I took it, ran it back, and it was a big changing point in the game.
There's a lot of time to think when you're returning a football 96 yards. I mean, it probably only took 10 or 11 seconds, but are you looking behind you or like what was kind of racing through your mind while you were racing down the field?
Yeah, honestly, when I took the ball out, first thing I was thinking is don't get caught. That's going to be embarrassing. Don't get caught. So I just started running. I hit the sideline, and honestly, I thought somebody was going to catch me. When I looked back, all I saw was blue and a bunch of blockers. I didn't see nobody near me. So around the 15, I started, like, slowing it down and just took the moment in.
In overtime, I believe Northview Academy scored first, right?
Yep.
And then you were able to get your hand on a PAT that ended up, again, being the difference in that game. Take me through that play and just kind of what your keys are and what you're looking to do.
Yeah, so on the play before that, when the play where they scored, one of our safeties, Kason Beach, he got hurt. He got a concussion. He has a concussion. So he was out there for a while. So we had time to go on the sideline and just, like, take it in, like, discuss what we were going to do. And one of our coaches, Coach Calfee, he was trying to draw up a play. And I had been seeing something from the previous field goals that they had been doing where the guard wasn't really squeezing down his gap. So I told him, I was like, Coach, let me get this one right here. So I told our tackle to hit a gap and pull the guard down with him. And then I told our other linebacker to hit the tackle, and I just squeezed in between and went for the block.
At the time, I know you probably didn't think, hey, this is going to be what's going to decide the game. You guys still had to go down there and score. But Gibbs did score, got the extra point. Y'all move on to the second round. How exciting is it to still be playing? I mean, there's a lot of teams that went home last week.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Coach always points out that a lot of teams aren't playing anymore. They're turning in their equipment, and we still have the chance to play. So take care of every, like, opportunity and moment.
This game with Greenville coming up, obviously a big one for you guys. And what have y'all seen out of them so far that it kind of gives you concern, or what are the keys to this game?
Yeah, they're good. They're a good football team. We played them last year in the second round, and it didn't go how we wanted it to. But this year, I think we've really been locked in practice. I think we're just going to come out. It's going to take a lot, but we're just going to have to come out and play our hardest and give it all we got.
The 5-Star Preps Player of the Week is proudly presented by Smith Built Homes, East Tennessee's most trusted home builders since the 1950s. Smith Built dedicates themselves to producing a home that owners, their families, and neighbors can be proud of for generations to come.
Congratulations to Brady Hughes, Player of the Week, from Smith Built Homes. So he was featured right here tonight on our show and on WVLT's Varsity All Access as well. Thanks to everybody who voted. A really tight race between Brady and Massengale, the receiver down at McMinn Central. I think they had around 7,000 votes. So big week of voting on 5starpreps.com. All right, it's our favorite time of the night. Waffle House, Who's Gonna Eat segment. Love this segment. Waffle House, always a great spot after football games, especially when it starts getting cold a little bit and you want that late night meal like around 10 or 10:30, 11. Go over to your nearest Waffle House, get you some breakfast, pancakes, waffles. I'm a breakfast sandwich guy, whatever you want there. I mean, obviously they have it, but it's a great spot. I know a lot of people that go to Waffle House after games. It's just something about it. Cram in there in those booths, get you some good food, make you feel good on a cold night. But Waffle House, who's going to eat in round 2? We always post it on Instagram. Here we go. Of course, the number one vote getter, always first round draft pick, Bennett Campbell, Anderson County, at Bennett_Campbell, is not just going to eat, he is going to devour, says Bryson Vowell, former Anderson County wide receiver. And we'll see. But he's always on there, always first. Let's see. Brandon Winton, wide receiver out at Alcoa, Mr. Football semifinalist, says them boys Boski and Gregory Tate are going to eat. Of course, Boski is Marquise Barrett, and Gregory Tate, wide receiver, defensive backs over at Webb. Jason Thompson, running back from Bearden, he says Tyreek King is going to eat. Of course, Catholic big game on the road tonight. Let's keep scrolling. D. Carlos Orr, wide receiver, Illinois commitment from Gatlinburg-Pittman, nominates his teammate Whitman Whaley, who's leading the area in receiving touchdowns with 15, but he's a Wake Forest linebacker commit. Anyway, Gatlinburg-Pittman, big game against a run-heavy Kingston football team tonight. Scrolling along, can't believe there's no Will Spills on here, man. Where's Will Spill? Wyatt DeRoche, defensive lineman from West High School, nominates Jack Keith. He calls it a revenge game. Let's see what else. We had over 70 people. Price Davis, running back from Maryville, says Gage Ledoux's going to eat. They need him to eat. They need Gage Ledoux to eat. They need Will Jones to eat. They need Price Davis to eat. All of them on the road at Bradley Central tonight. Big game in Class 6A. There we go. Harvey Neendorf nominates Will Spill. As always, we got nomination for Nick Moog, the running back from Anderson County. Will Spill every week. We got Shepard Strange. We got Will Spill, Will Presley. Will Presley, kind of a running back, wide receiver out at Oak Ridge, coming into his own in that wide receiver core, along with Brandon Hayward and Almani Rimbert. And one more. Let's get one more good one. Aiden Bond says only one Zay. That's Isaiah Hall, the quarterback at Anderson County. Again, big rivalry game between them and Elizabethton tonight in round 2 of the playoffs. And let's go ahead and start with that game. Elizabethton, 1 loss on the year, shut down a high-flying Carter offense a week ago. And they are 1-3 against Anderson County since, I think, 2017 in the second round of the playoffs. That's an alarming win-loss record. We're not used to seeing Elizabethton, especially in this 10-year run that they've had of excellence. I mean, it goes beyond that, but recent championship years, runner-up years, we're not used to seeing them with that type of record against Anderson County in second-round games. Nevertheless, they played twice last year, and I think both of those games were decided by a combined 7 points, maybe? I mean, it's really close football games both times. Elizabethton coming to Anderson County again for the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. We are predicting an Anderson County win to move on and face Greenville in the third round. We like Greenville tonight over Gibbs. Another game that we are predicting, Bearden at Jefferson County. Flip-flopped on this one all week. I had Jefferson County picked for the longest time. I flipped last night. I'm going Bearden to win at Jefferson County. I think Bearden is healthier now. I think they're going to play a little bit freer now offensively. I like Bearden to win this game close. Very, very close. Like 24-21 close. Maybe a field goal, something like that wins it. But this will be one of the games of the night for sure. Maryville at Bradley Central. You heard me talk earlier in the show. Maryville has made at least the state semifinals or beyond every year starting in 2000. They haven't missed the semifinals since 1999. This is the second round game against Bradley Central, who, oh, by the way, beat Maryville in the regular season 21-13. Got off to a huge start. Maryville rallied in the second half, had a chance to possibly tie it. Both teams completely different now in terms of efficiency, how they work, how they manufacture points. But that was just a little preview of what's to come. I like Maryville's ability to compete in this game. But man, I'm got to go with Bradley Central. I can't shake what I saw out of Bradley Central in week 11, how dominant and potent they were in that win over Bearden. I think Maryville's come a very far way just to get to this point, given all the injuries they've had, all the people they had to replace, the kids that transferred out of the program and left the state. I like Bradley. It's hard to pick against Maryville just because we're so accustomed to it, right? Over the last 20 plus years. But I think Bradley gets the win and moves on to the third round. Clinton at Oak Ridge, rivalry game. Clinton played Oak Ridge tough this year. They played Oak Ridge tough last year. They're going to probably play them close again. But Oak Ridge gets the win in this rivalry game against Clinton. And the Wildcats will move on to the third round and have a winnable game. So I expect Oak Ridge to get into the semifinals, especially if they win this game. But Clinton, unbelievable win last week over McMinn County. We have great video from that kind of went viral here in East Tennessee. Big production out of Clinton a week ago. They will challenge Oak Ridge again. I mean, they have unbelievable skill talent on offense and some good dudes on defense, but I think Oak Ridge gets the win. We talked about Elizabethton and Anderson County. Final game, Catholic at MUS. Catholic got its first Division II AAA win, postseason win a week ago on the road at MUS. MUS very good defensively. You heard it in our conversation with Steve Matthews. Again, I flip-flopped on this one this week. I had MUS up until about Wednesday night. I'm switching to Catholic. I like them, the way that they're going to handle this game, go down early, stay, then make the journey over to Memphis the next morning. Catholic gets the win on the road at MUS. They go on to the state, I guess it would be the state semifinals next week, right? In Division II AAA. So those are our predicted winners tonight. That's our show for the night. Thank you to Coker Rentals, as always. Thank you, Steve Matthews, co-head football coach at Catholic, for joining us. Thank you to Brady Hughes, our player of the week from Gibbs High School, for joining us. Thank you to everybody that watches the show, get pumped up for a big night of football. Make sure you're following us all night long for scores, for updates on social media. And, of course, once the games go final, we got stories, recaps, box scores, statewide scores. We got playoff pairings for next week. We have photo galleries, we got videos, everything you can want and more for high school football here in East Tennessee, right at 5starpreps.com. I'm Jesse Smithey. We'll catch you guys next week right here on The Walkthrough.
Welcome to the 5-Star Preps Walkthrough.
Powered by Coker Rental Company. The Walkthrough delivers important pregame news, breakdowns of the week's biggest matchups, and more from the teams and players you spend your fall Friday nights cheering for.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Now, join us as our host, Jesse Smithey, and the rest of the 5-Star Preps team deliver the most comprehensive high school football coverage in East Tennessee.
It's time for the 5-Star Preps Walkthrough.
endless hold times, and that user-friendly website can just add to your frustrations when you need business to run on time. Your contact, who is just a phone call away, doesn't turn out to be so available after all. Best Logistics Group puts you first. When our team promises we can handle that, you can count on us to be there when you need us, not just when it's convenient. To put an end to your supply chain headaches, just remember there's Best Logistics Group.
Technology has certainly made everyone better, but it's the people that separate the good from the best.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.